ordinance. And we've got just a little presentation to go up on the screens in just 1 second. There are just a handful of amendments this year, which I think that in itself is a victory. That means we're slowly weeding out those one-off things, and the ordinance is becoming more and more functional. I mean, it's already functional, but I never used the word perfect, but it is more perfect than it was when it started, and it will be more perfect with these amendments, which are going to appear in any moment.
My feed squirrel.
And while Wes is looking, I will note that we are asking for first reading. Normally, we like to do these work sessions, kind of a series of work sessions to hammer out any discussions and details, and then present the result of those work sessions in the ordinance for first reading. But because we skipped a month for the election and we kind of have pushed this, we are asking that you guys go ahead and give us first reading today, right after this work session. And then, of course, if any substantial issues arise during this discussion, we can work on those for a second reading, as long as it's not a major amendment. So that's the first slide. Thank you, Wes. We'll go right into the first proposal. So right now, we allow folks who have a rental license, specifically an ISTR, we have them, if their structure is licensed and they tear that structure down, and they replace it with a new structure that has the same or fewer square feet and the same or fewer number of bedrooms, they can maintain that license. One example is coming at the corner of Cooper and West 2nd Street. That's our first owner who's taken advantage of this clause. He's tearing down his home, he's replacing it with a home of similar square footage, same or fewer bedrooms, and so he can maintain his ISTR throughout that process. We also have a requirement in our ordinance that you must rent your property 28 nights each year in order to maintain your ISTR. So those two things kind of directly conflict with each other. And it's the intent of the ordinance to let owners keep the license, but it doesn't say it explicitly in the ordinance. So what we've got here is amendment to say that remain in good standing, item C, you've rented your 28 nights, but you're exempt from that, a natural disaster, item 1, or number 2, you have work related to a valid building permit, or to replace the unit, a valid building permit for life, safety, health issues, or a valid permit to replace the unit. So this just clarifies that contradiction, the replacing the unit wins. So if you are in the middle of rebuilding your home, you don't have to rent it 28 nights. One thing that's not on this slide that came up during our staff discussion today is the building official, Eric. He pointed out that there are occasionally valid building permits that may go beyond 6 months in the current year that are not necessarily life, safety, or health violations. These are valid building permits for elective things, a major renovation, new floors, new cabinets, new bathroom fixtures. There are some major renovations that are not life, safety, or health related, but can possibly stretch 6 months or more. So in the staff discussion, we talked about this language, if it was just work related to a building permit, or to replace the unit. And that would take away the life, safety, health issue, and then the issue of 6 months or more. If it lasts 6 months or more, a building permit can be extended. These are rare circumstances, right? But if we have a chance to fix that now and address those rare circumstances before come up, we could amend this to say work related to a valid building permit for the duration of the permit, or to replace the unit. So that's an amendment. If you guys are agreeable to it, we'd like to go ahead and address the situation of elective building permits first, but also elective building permits that last more than 6 months, because that does occasionally happen. Less now than maybe it did, but definitely during COVID when there were supply chain issues, work dragged out. So, any idea, any thoughts? Or?
Well, I had a similar question on part 2, the second bullet, which is clarify that renovations where the scope scale does not trigger the revocation of a CO or render the building uninhabitable does not trigger the loss of license. I get where it doesn't trigger the loss of license, but if you're doing something that you can't rent, are we gonna give leeway on the 28-day minimum on such circumstances, which is similar to what you're talking about, I guess?
Well, yeah, that would be covered in this item too, here. If we make that amendment, those will also be covered here.
I mean, I think that's reasonable, because you could be doing work that's not related to life or safety,
Well,
but
the
it could.
supply chain could delay everything.
Right, so if that happens, but maybe it's not, you make it automatic, but you can apply for like a variance, or you can apply for relief from the 28-day.
From a staff perspective, I'm comfortable as long as the building permit's valid and you've applied for the extension of the building permit, that would be good enough, rather than a separate application through the business license.
I guess I just keep thinking of ways around it. So if you get a building permit and you keep extending it, does it indefinitely relieve you of the 28-day minimum?
The city has to approve those, correct?
Yeah, they can be, the request for extension can keep coming, but it still has to be approved, signed off.
I mean, you guys could set it 1 year instead of 6 months, you could set it 18 months instead of 6 months.
But there's still city oversight.
Yeah, but there's just, instead of, because I don't guess we give people a hard time about extending valid building permits.
Usually that only comes into play if all progress stops and there's no inspections. There's another section in the code that covers that.
Is there a cost for extending building permits?
It's just administrative fees.
So, I mean, in theory, somebody could get a building permit and keep extending it and thereby get relief from the 28 days.
Right. Actually, the whole thing is no longer valid if their last inspection goes 180 days before their next inspection. That, no matter if they have extension or not, that terminates the building permit. So you can't just stop work.
So that sets the clock. I mean, that's it, yeah.
That's just built into the code right now. The building.
Certainly, one option you guys have is instead of removing 6 months, you could just change it to a year or 18 months, or that's, so any duration of your choice.
Well, where did the 6 months originally come from?
That came from a series of work sessions 2 years ago, just general discussion. A normal building permit is valid for 180 days, and then you have to extend it. So this was tied to just the original duration of one permit before it
So
expired.
is it the experience of staff that this is a rare exception, a common exception request, or what are you talking about?
I mean, since I've been here, it's pretty rare, but
Yeah.
I don't know, will that, next year could be different.
So if it was extended to a year,
I think a year is a reasonable person. It's just a personal thing.
Aaron, I'm sorry, I noticed under number 2, in the red, it says fewer square feet, should that be heated? To match
That's,
the ordinance?
yes, we can add heated.
Or condition and so.
Yeah, conditioned or heated. All right, any other thoughts on this particular one?
As long as we close up that loophole, I'm fine, if it's
Are you
a year or
good with
180.
a year?
That's
Eric,
fine.
do you think there are any non-life safety permits, elective permits that, how frequently will someone need more than a year?
If they want to play the system. I'm not talking about good intentioned people, I'm talking about people that want to get relief from the 28 days by playing a loophole. That's what I'm talking about. Is that loophole playable to continue?
It would be pretty tough to go over a year without a lot of financial detriment to the person trying to play that football.
And you also said the clock set each time you have an inspection, so I think that takes care of most of
If
that.
you go without an inspection for 180 days, we're gonna terminate the permit regardless. That's another pacing kind of built into it.
well, having gone through this process for the last 3 years, the wheels of progress move very slowly in terms of construction on this island, so I'm in favor of extending the period of time.
All right, and we can consider this exact language at second reading. I don't think it's substantive enough to derail tonight, but we'll definitely look at a time limit. and tweaking the building code language. Next is renovations and rental licenses. This is another kind of unwritten conflict in the code. We require a valid CO to renew your license. We let people demolish their house and rebuild it with restrictions in order to keep their license, but we do not set any requirements for renovations and additions. Right now, you can add on a bedroom this year, add on a bedroom next year, add on a bedroom next year. As long as you keep up with the parking and the septic and other requirements, your license isn't endangered. So we've had a lot of questions when people have undertaken significant renovations and or additions. Wanting to know what's happening with that license, why is it being removed? So this just clarifies for folks looking at the ordinance that if you are renovating or adding on to a property and that property does not become uninhabitable and you do not lose your CO, then your license remains in good standing. The fact that you renovated or added on does not trigger loss of a license. Licenses classified at the time of application. The original concern with this was closer to the beginning of the ordinance when folks were backdating their taxes. So we classify licenses based on your property tax classification, and this just codifies that that's done at the time you apply for a license or renewal. That's your tax classification for the year. And the reason we're asking to make this crystal clear in the ordinance is that we've had some folks who have changed their tax classification, lost their license, and then tried to change the classification back to regain the license. They've come back and backdated it so that, oh, I shouldn't have lost my license because my tax class did not really change. You can't play the game of changing your class back and forth multiple times in a year. This is also important because at the appeal level, we've had some folks who, and this is where, is it the next one? No, so that's the concept here. And on the next slide, Wes, this is kind of, the first part is technical. It applies just stating what already happens. This already happens, and this is worked through the appeals, and we'd like you guys to codify it. We've had some folks who bought a property from a 4% owner. So Mr. Farley bought my house was at 4%. Mr. Farley takes over. He does not live there, but the tax office doesn't catch that, and they tax him at 4% going forward. In his mind, he's a 6% second homeowner because the county hasn't caught up. He has not proactively applied for 4%. He's never claimed to be a 4% owner. The county just hasn't done their job of changing the tax back to 6%. So this has happened a few times during the appeal where we've found out, we've gone to an owner who had a license, an OSTR issued at 4%. The tax class changed to 6%. We said, we're taking your license, you can't have an OSTR, and you can't get an ISTR because there are no more ISTRs available. And they, what do you mean I was an OSTR? I never applied for 4% for this property. It's not my fault the county didn't properly classify me as 6% when I bought it. And in those cases, our hearing officer has ruled that we should give those folks their license because they never affirmatively stated that they were 4%. So this would basically say that if you've got an OSTR that we issued to you based on the county's mistaken records, and the county comes behind and cleans up their records, we won't take your OSTR and deny you an ISTR because you would have been entitled to an ISTR had the county had your property tax correct. Does that make sense? And in this case, it's a little different because the owners are able to say, I never affirmatively applied for that 4%. It's not my fault.
Are you saying they were actually 4%ers, but they didn't apply, or?
They were not.
They were not.
They were not. You know, they bought it from Ohio. It's got a 4% tax rate. Their accountant does their papers.
And
They don't know what an OSTR is, an ISTR.
but they can come and apply for an OSTR based on
Right,
the incorrect 4%
Right.
tax rating.
correct.
Well, I should have known better when I did that then.
Personally, I think you should have. Our business license hearing officer felt different. military exemptions. Our definition of an OSTR has a limit of 72 nights annually, and that's to reinforce the state property tax rules that say if you rent more than 72 nights, you can lose your 4% rating. We went a step further and put the 72 nights in our ordinance. What we did not know at the time is that if you're active duty military and you're deployed or assigned a new station, you can rent unlimited nights and not lose your 4% as long as you recertify annually that you were still deployed in active duty. So right now, we have a 72-night limit for an OSTR for a military person who has the right to rent it unlimited and not lose their 4%.
Is that a state law, federal law?
The state law. And the state law may be based on federal law, but it is part of the state code, SC Code 1243-220C2B.
But that military member has to have South Carolina as his home of residence, as his permanent residence to apply.
He has to have had the 4% rating.
He has to be a resident.
He can only have one state as his home of record while on active duty.
Yes.
And it would have to be South Carolina in this
Yes,
case.
but again, and then just for the record, we, the city of Folly Beach, don't check that. 4%, 6% is the purview of the county.
Well, I'm sure the county knows.
Yeah. So right now, this would just give them the exemption in our ordinance that they already have through state law.
He's complying with state law.
Yeah. I mean, we're free to.
I understand we
want
can
more or
supersede
less
it,
with short-term
but I mean,
rentals, but
the
yeah.
precedence is there with the state, right?
It's like the state law right there, yes.
Emergency phone numbers, in our ordinance, down at the very end of the ordinance, we require the rental agencies and property managers to give renters an emergency contact number in their contract, but we don't require them to post that number in the unit. A lot of them do, but it's not required, so when they don't, we don't have a way to say, you must do this. We feel like it would be good practice to require them to post the emergency contact number in the unit. We do have people fall off decks, we have fires, we have medical emergencies, that sort of thing. And the renter should be able to look at the posting in the unit, get that number, not necessarily pull up their email, get the contract from the agency and find the number. So this is just an operational thing. We
It's an
already
emergency number for the property
for the
manager
property-
or
For the property,
for public safety?
for the property.
For the property.
So they already have to give that information in the contract, but this would just say they have to also post it in the unit. Any questions on that one? That's the end of the 2025 short-term rental amendments, so I'm happy that those are the only things that came up there this year. Next up, we have our Third Street concessions RFP. So we're asking City Council tonight to bless us to put this out for bid. Historically, there were concessions at Third Street West. We had Jerry Pierce and Boiled Peanuts, and he did that in return for some labor and parking rights down at Third Street West. That concession went away. It has not been active since we started the parking contract, the most recent series of parking contracts. Last year, council voted to amend the ordinance to create a new franchise, which would award the ability to vend or have concessions at Third Street West. So this RFP is basically a solicitation for proposals to do concessions at Third Street West. We wanted to write it as broadly as possible to encourage creativity, but still establish some kind of guardrails. One note is that this is just for food concessions. It does not include the rental of beach gear, similar to what happens at Second Street East. If you guys wanted to do that, we can certainly do that, but right now, we've got Second Street East is where what I'm calling beach gear is rented, coolers, etc. And Third Street West would strictly be for food products. So that's one thing I just want to highlight, make sure that's what you guys are interested in. So just going through the RFP, we're proposing to give them no more than 3 parking spaces in that lot, 30 by 20. All of their operations need to be within that space. They can't block the parking operations, they can't block access to the restrooms or the beach walkover. They can't go out onto the beach, they can't sell on the beach or deliver to the beach. It's meant for sales that happen there in that space, wherever that space ends up being on the lot. No permanent structures. We want to avoid the Second Street East shed situation, so no permanent structures. They're welcome to have a food truck or something that can be moved or relocated, but nothing permanent. Any temporary structures that they do bring, like a food truck, they can leave it overnight, but if we notify them there's an emergency, they have to remove it. If they don't do something more substantial, like a truck or a trailer, and they just have stands, carts, or tables, those have to come out every day. Nothing left there overnight. No off-site signage, so there's no advertising it at the corner of Center Street and Ashley or on Causeway. It's just one site on that site, or one sign on that site, maximum 20 square footage, which is the biggest sign you can do in any zoning district in the city. They will have access to the power and water, but that detail needs to be laid out in their proposal so we can evaluate someone who wants to use the power, who doesn't, what the cost of connecting to the power that is. But we wanted them to know their service is available and to let us know if they plan to use them. It's for a 1-year term. And, you know, this is different. Our beach franchises are 5-year terms with renewal after 3 years. Because this one is new, we have it on a 1-year term with 2 1-year renewals proposed. So if you guys are happy with those terms, we can keep them. We can go for a longer term. It's up to you. We do allow for off-season activity. I'm not sure if the bidders will find that profitable or make that recommendation, but we are saying it is allowed, so basically it could be year-round if they propose it. We do need their operating hours in advance. And basically, it's any type of food except alcohol or foods that contain alcohol. And that would knock out the booze pops. So no booze pops at 3rd Street West. In bold there, you'll see no delivery of food to the beach is allowed. We really want to stress, and we'll stress in the contract, purely for on-site sales, nothing on the beach. And that's kind of it. The bid, there's no minimum bid. It's just a bid, whatever they propose, plus 4% gross. We do have a $5,000 minimum bid for our shared umbrella franchises and our surf camps. So I don't know if council wants to set a minimum bid for this one or not, or just let this first round go and see what we get. But those are our general requirements, and that's it. We just want to step back and see what people bring us. Yes.
One time we talked about RFQ versus RFP.
Mhm.
Didn't RFQ give us a little more wiggle room about making selections?
This is essentially an RFQ at
Okay.
this point. I mean, it's semantics. It's wide open.
Okay.
But do you guys see any basic requirements that you feel like need to be put in place that we missed? Or would you like to talk about minimum bids or
Any
off-season
thoughts on
activity?
minimum bid?
I think you should have a minimum bid, otherwise you're gonna get anybody that says, hey, Tom, John, Bill, let's all get together and give this a try, but they have no real incentive to make it work, because there's no lost leader there. I would prefer to see a minimum bid. It doesn't have to necessarily match what we do for the chairs and umbrellas, but we ought to have some kind of a hook.
So is the city forecasted revenue on this particular activity, or, I mean,
There's no precedent.
there's no precedent, so have you spitballed it? I mean, have you thought about what you're looking at here? I mean, I know this is an ecumenical decision if we make it, but, is there a line in the sand of what you're trying to gain here in terms of financial?
Well, right now we have 0. It's
Okay.
generating 0, so
Okay.
plus 1 is a gain
Anything
to
more
the
than
city.
0?
Well, not exactly true, because we'll be losing 3 parking spots.
Yeah.
So we
So
know
we-
what the break even is, to your point. We're gonna lose $5,000 a spot.
And when we bring the contracts back to you guys, we will have the parking revenue. Like, we don't need to know that tonight, but when you're reviewing the contracts.
Yes.
And the bidder proposes $30,000 and you know you're losing 40, then you'll know. So we're not quite there yet in terms of the income. This is just the parameters of the RFP. This is not awarding a bid.
So to be clear, there's no blackout dates. It's for a year and minimal, at least experimentally. And then there's what, no guarantee that's gonna be used during the off-season.
There's no guarantee.
So you don't really know.
No.
You,
It's up
so
to
are you gonna
them
be
to-
closing down the parking spots if they're not using it? I
It's
mean,
it's up to them to tell us what their
So-
proposal
So
is.
those details will be settled when we get the response.
So there's some flexibility in terms of.
The
All
revenue,
that's-
the
so
contract base.
What we're looking at tonight is the minimum basic,
Got it.
this, and so that's, I'm speaking, and that's why we said it can be in the off-season. You guys might not want it in the off-season. That's totally up to you. But right now, we're advertising it as available for year-round. So tonight, we're just trying to settle the basic parameters. So starting with a minimum bid, is there anyone else who feels?
I like the minimum bid idea.
I agree with that.
Other beach franchises are $5,000 a year plus 4% gross.
But they have a record of income too.
And, yeah, and then that was based on our review last year of their income as a group, as a reasonable fee, and that income, roughly speaking, for the two separate kinds of franchises, total among all providers was $1 million. That's the gross receipts we're talking about for the beach and cheer folks and the surf clubs. So we have their actual business licenses. As a group, each class of franchise generates about $1 million in gross revenue, and we set the base fee at $5,000 for this.
It'd be great to know what the loss of revenue is on the parking and make that the fee, and then that way we're guaranteed to break even if the proposal or the group goes under and we don't get 5%.
So we do have those numbers. I don't have them in front of me, but we do have the actual income from 3 parking spaces.
Can we just notionally set that as the minimum?
Any thoughts about off-season?
Well, let them go year round.
I agree.
It's just a one-year deal, so yeah.
I agree. You're gonna reevaluate it.
Right, and are we good with only food and not beach gear? So I'll make sure that's the will of council.
I think only food.
Only food, drinks.
Okay, and we tend to,
I specify elephant ears only, though.
hey, we can literally do that if that's your will.
I was particularly pleased to see you put in there about having a plan for addressing litter. I think that's important.
Yeah.
And removing it.
I'm glad you included
If you
it.
gotta roll the card out, 'cause
And
We talked about straws and stuff too, so.
About what?
Straws.
Yeah.
And we anticipate that when the bids come in, there may be some bidders who specify compostable, biodegradable food containers and some who don't. And those will be the kind of differentiating factors when you guys review the bids. We could require it outright from the beginning, but right now we just have a plan to reduce litter and waste. So we will make that change, set the minimum to be the loss of revenue from the 3 parking spaces. We plan to turn this around as quickly as possible to advertise it and then award it at the February council meeting. I know we've got at least 3 folks who have given us unsolicited proposals in the past. We'll dig into the archives and let those folks know it's available, and then we'll advertise it and see what we get. Next up is the RFP for beach chair and umbrella rentals. So this is an existing franchise. It's up for renewal this year. And the new RFP reflects some ordinance changes that we've been working on, quite frankly, for 4 years, that we finalized last year. So this RFP is for the same service, beach chairs and umbrellas only, specifying the new operating conditions that we established by ordinance last fall. In red, you'll see it does not include the rental of other products or services. That's repeated a couple of other times here. This proposal and this bid is only for chairs and umbrellas. What's happening at 2nd Street East, beach gear rental, needs to be its own separate franchise, which we'll bring to you guys hopefully next month. So this is only addressing the rental of beach chairs and umbrellas on the beach. I think that I've captured all the ordinance changes. They can transport on the beach, but they must access to the nearest beach, drivable beach walkover. It's a 5-year contract, renewed after the 3rd year. The base fee is $5,000. All drivers have to have training. The things in here. So this is basically a recital of the ordinance. But what I want to stress to everyone is this is just for the chairs and umbrellas.
Let me ask, just as I see it here, the liability insurance requirement on this one, should that be in the last one too?
Won't hurt.
And is there an advantage for us to do a separate bid next month for like coolers, or just add coolers into this and let everybody bid on it as it is with coolers?
I believe that based on the difficulty we've had separating the two businesses and what's allowed and what's not allowed, we came down pretty firmly that the delivery of coolers to the beach was a no-go. And so I like to keep the business of beach chairs and umbrellas, at least for our purposes, very clearly distinct from the business of coolers and other items. If we combine the bids, it creates an opportunity for the services to meld together over time, as they have done. And then we're out there policing the beach fairly regularly for a cooler that got delivered, or some other thing that's been set up on the beach against the franchise. So the intent of the franchise has always been no delivery of goods to the beach. And putting the two together, I think, just blurs the line just enough to create confusion and gets us right back to what started this in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in favor of the cooler part, not necessarily all other beach items, including cornhole and stuff like that, but I think the coolers might actually do well for us when trash gets put into the coolers and the people go and pick up the coolers in the trash. I think that might provide us a public service to keep the beach cleaner, but
Well, that can go into
if we look at it next month.
when they do the proposal. Yeah.
If you think it's better to keep it separate, we'll keep it separate. Keep this clean.
I'd like to have it clean.
I think just based on the request for enforcement that we've gotten that kind of kicked off this whole ordinance review, I'd like to keep it separate.
Okay.
Plus you got the shed and all that stuff.
Are there any other questions about the beach chair and umbrella rentals? The major concept is that this is drawing a clear distinction between chairs and umbrellas and everything else. Next up, I guess there's no slides. Next up is allowing horses to be used in city events. So we have an old ordinance in the books from 1995 that made it unlawful for any person to keep or use within the city horses, etc. And there's extensive language in that ordinance dealing with whichever horses, pigs, swine that must have been in existence at the time the ordinance passed. It created a review for those things. So hopefully all the horses that were here in 1995, I believe they're probably gone. So we don't need that language anymore. But the phrase "or use" has been in our ordinances. And because of that, when we have special events, namely the Christmas parade, and someone wants to use a horse, they have to come to city council and get a waiver from this particular ordinance. So what we'd like to do is in the future, eliminate the need to have a separate appearance before council for the horses in an event that council has already approved and delegated to the special event committee. That could be through the pre-approved list, which is only reviewed by the special events committee, or a new event, I don't know, a horse day that council approves and then sends to the city council or special events committee. Just no extra step of getting specific approval every year to appear in the parade and or any other council approved event. So by passing this ordinance, you're saying that if you approve any special event, mermaids and mateys, once it goes to the special events committee, if someone wants to use horses and they present it to the special events committee and the events committee comes up with a plan, it's approved.
I'm good with that.
All right?
The chief's on, you're on special events, right?
This does not eliminate the agenda item tonight for horses in this year's Christmas parade, because this won't be in effect until then, and we can't make it pending. But if it passes, then next year and forward, all you have to do is convince the special events committee. Next up, in West, do you have the ability to stream this map? So while Wes pulls up the map, this is a proposed property acquisition on 13th Street. And Wes is gonna pull up an aerial in a minute.
May I just make a comment before we start?
Yes, sir.
The owner of those two properties is here just to entertain any questions if you'd like for him to.
They introduce themselves?
Yeah.
Jack, you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Jack Hughley. I own one of the two lots. My sister owns the other lot.
And we do have written confirmation that he's able to represent his sister as well. So these lots are on 13th Street. They are low-lying lots with very small amount of high ground. So right off the top, these are low-lying lots. They do not contain enough high ground to support any permittable development in the city of Folly Beach at this time. They're not buildable in the traditional sense. Just want to state that so everyone knows. And so there in this picture, Wes, can you hover over lot 22 and 24? Yeah, so it's these two lots here. And you'll see the high ground up against 13th Street. So these lots are on 13th Street. 13th Street and Tabby Drive are well-known areas of localized flooding on Folly Beach. We have a problem down there during storm events and high tides. The residents in this area got together in 2022, 2023-ish, and the city facilitated meetings between those residents and the DOT to look at flood control options. And they came up with the installation of a berm along 13th Street. By the time DOT got done with the process, what they could do without any formal project management engagement is the rock berm that is there. You can kind of see it on this picture. That rock berm, let's call it about 3 feet high. It goes down 13th Street. There's a little tie-in on the lot that faces Ashley Avenue. On the end where it meets Tabby Drive, there is no tie-in. That berm does not effectively tie into anything at this time. And so it is not functioning as an effective flood control at this time. And partly because of that, the residents at Tabby Drive have continued to ask us to address flooding in this area. In 2023, we also got a study that identified about $4.2 million of improvements, which Eric can give you more details, some road raise, some road elevation changes and other changes that would have incorporated this berm kind of as part of an overall solution. The price tag of that's $4.2 million in 2023. That has not been implemented, it's not funded at this time. So the plan has not been funded, the plan has not been constructed, the berm does not tie into anything, but it could in the future. And so it continues to flood at Tabby Drive and 13th Street. And so the residents have recently re-engaged with DOT and presented a plan to DOT to enhance this berm, make it wider, taller, build a wall, a retaining wall, in anticipation of it being functional one day as part of a greater flood control project. The issue we have is that this berm has now blocked physical access to lots 22 and 24. You cannot drive a car onto those lots. In order to walk onto those lots, which are private property, you must now overcome the obstacle that has been placed there. And if our flood control projects move forward, the obstacle would be even greater. After the berm went in, the city was made aware of some, I'll just phrase it as neighborly disagreement, that the berm that got built wasn't what was sold, and that because they can't get to any lots, the owners would like the berm removed. The owner has represented several times to the city that they intend to seek removal of this berm, have DOT remove it because they are blocking their access. We talk about this, we've engaged with the owner to purchase the lots after an appraisal. The owner has indicated that it doesn't matter what the lot's appraised for, he's interested in a floor of $10,000 per lot as the price of letting our berm remain there in return for losing access to his lots. So this is not a discussion about necessarily the value of those lots as developable properties. They are not under threat of construction. However, the lack of access to those lots is a direct threat to the berm, the future better berm, and the longer-term flood control. So what this is a proposal to purchase those lots at the price named by the owner, $10,000 each, in order to preserve our ability to construct a future flood management project at Tabby Drive. But for full transparency, no project is currently funded. That's it. It's just protecting our ability to do something there in the future. Eric is much more knowledgeable about the actual plan than I am. If you have any technical questions.
I have lots of concerns about this. I don't even know where to get started, but let me make sure I understand this correctly. So the berm, which is owned by the city, there's no access for this gentleman and his sister to get access to the property, correct?
Correct.
But the berm is owned by the city because it's within the rights, within the setback from the middle of the
We've
road.
not taken ownership of that berm.
It's actually a DOT on permit at the moment.
Okay, so it's a DOT, but it's not owned by the residents, I mean, by the property owners, right? Okay, just like the rest of the streets. So did the property owners, were they part of the due diligence when the berm was constructed? And did they sign off on that, and did they know about it? And was there consent, or is there any kind of documentation thereof?
So I can speak from my end on the city. What I'm aware of is that the property owner has represented that he agreed to a smaller berm, which could have been drivable, and that's not what got built. But I will certainly defer to Mr. Hughley if you'd like to share your experience of whether or not you approve the construction of the berm and agree with it. And if you'd like to come up to the microphone.
What you said is accurate.
Okay. What is the regulation, what's the stipulation on how much access is necessary? What's the minimal square footage to get access to their property? I mean, what are we talking about? 12 feet, 10 feet, 3 feet, a pathway? Because obviously they can't build a dock there. There's never gonna be a permit issue for a dock because it's a lowland marsh. So is there a restriction as to how much access we have to give the property owner?
It's more about reaching the
Joe,
berm.
I agree with that.
Joe, do you understand the question?
I do, and I don't know that, I think generally speaking, the law is that they do have to have access.
Right. You can't land.
I don't, I would have to research. I don't think there's a specification or a definition of what access is, under state law. I mean, it'd be a state issue.
So we all agree that this piece of property is locked. It can't be improved, it can't be built upon, it's marshland, you wouldn't get a permit for.
It's not entirely marshland.
It's not entirely marshland? Is there a
No, sir, it's
piece
not.
of it that's
And
buildable?
when we originally bought it in 1985, it was entirely high ground. If you wanna know the whole story, I can fill you in, but
Yeah.
the Corps of Engineers is what created the critical zone change, the critical line change.
When the berm was installed?
No.
No, when the Corps of Engineers, okay,
The
yes,
Corps,
okay.
right.
It's kinda like our beach.
Right.
And how was the determination of the amount of money made? Is this fair market value, or are we talking about?
So I can only speak from the city's perspective. We have no appraisal. We offered to appraise the lot. The owner agreed to let us appraise it, but stated that it did not matter what it appraised for. His minimum acceptable offer was $10,000 per lot.
We just didn't want to be contingent upon it.
I see.
To me, it's a cheap price to pay to protect that lot.
I would agree with the exception that the berm isn't doing anything. I mean, I live around the corner from it. I've seen it during every king tide or high tide. I've been over there. It floods. You can't get down 13th Street to get to Tabby. And running the, high water vehicle down there to rescue citizens is obviously a problem, right? We know most people down there. So I actually think that my concern is that we're not going far enough. I mean, I think there needs to be some kind of flood mitigation down there. If we end up buying this piece of property, there ought to be some contingency or at least some kind of conversation about a proposal to deal with the flood and the drainage issue down there, because what's down there right now is pumping out by electricity through a 6-inch pipe. This takes forever. I mean, it's just, there needs to be something else mitigated. I don't think that.
I
berm's
get
gonna
that,
do
but
it.
I think this is part of the bigger solution. If we don't do this, we can't do the next step.
So that would be my request. If you do this, there needs to be some discussion about creating some kind of infrastructure improvement to allow the citizens down there to be able to get to their property.
I don't know that that's part of this discussion, though. I think what we're trying to do is to determine whether we want to acquire the property. Then we use it for the next step of where it fits into the whole flooding mitigation issue. The gentleman here has a point of ownership where he's saying, I'm willing to do this to give you that piece of your puzzle of what you're gonna do later. And I think that's a separate step. Correct that it certainly needs to be a part of a bigger plan, but we're trying to solve the issue here tonight. My understanding is, are we going to move forward with an opportunity to acquire the property or not?
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be contingent on,
I agree.
I do agree that there's gotta be a bigger discussion though.
Well, yeah, because
Not-
otherwise we're buying land that we can't use.
No.
Or otherwise,
You know,
I think
it's-
it's berm. I think
But
it's
if
not.
it's predicated,
Which is common sense.
I think it's Doc's point, if we don't close off the ends and water just runs around the ends, we might as well just pop 30 feet out of the berm and let him have access to it,
Yeah.
because water's gonna run around the ends, or it's gonna run through the 30 feet we give him.
it's running right through the berm right now.
Well, it's not complete.
Well, whatever they built.
But you're looking at 20 grand to remove a berm.
What's it gonna, it's not gonna cost that much, tear out rocks. They're just rocks.
I think this is a pretty cost-effective way to address that.
Equipment, I think it's a cost-effective way to move forward with a piece to the puzzle.
Yes.
Do we have an idea of the next piece, like completing the berm, is there, we got an idea of where it needs to go from where it leaves Tabby?
We have a list of solutions in that study that we got the break grant for back in 2023 that Aaron mentioned. And so we can start the low-hanging fruit and go from there. The next step really is a concept design from a proper engineer, which then allows us to chase funding, which allows us to build a project.
But the city has done due diligence, or maybe the neighbors have done due diligence, right, Aaron, on a new and improved true levee berm that would create a wall that would at least allow the water not to be as egregious as it is right now during high tides or king tides.
So Eric, correct me if I misstate this, as recently as the last major event, post-event, the residents presented a preliminary design for enhanced berm and retaining wall to DOT, who gave it, I guess you could call it a conceptual review, and said this could work, but you'll need to go back and hire a professional engineer to do it. And that's where we are. The residents, to my knowledge, have not come to the city and asked us to do that yet, but it exists, it's been presented to DOT, it has not been approved or permitted or funded, but they have been meeting with DOT about it.
To your point, this is an ongoing situation, so I think
Yeah,
this
as
is
long as
just
it's-
an important first step.
So I agree, as long as it's organic,
Yeah.
and this is at the end of the conversation, then I understand where you're going with this, because it creates the pathway for improvement, because downstream, wrong word, upstream, we gotta figure out a better way to mitigate this water down there.
Of course.
Yeah.
I agree.
So that-
Can we get any green fund money for it, or?
Unfortunately, we can't apply for Greenbelt money after we buy a property. So, and we can't, and we have drawn down our Greenbelt fund to buy 504 in East Huron. The lot's at the end of East Huron, and so we currently have no Greenbelt money allocated to us because we drew down in advance our Greenbelt funds.
Conservancy got any money?
Not that I know of, if we can get that quickly. I mean, we can always look.
I would request that we look.
We're always, I mean, for clarity.
I understand.
We're always looking.
I would request that we
It's not
put some
ready.
process to look.
All right. Next up, we have some parking related items. First up is 2-year parking renewals. Right now, resident parking passes, which, for the record, for anyone listening at home or in the world, resident parking passes only function in the beach access parking lots. They're not valid in on-street paid parking. Those expire every year. The parking contractor reached out and said, what do you guys think about a 2-year renewal? Staff thinks it's a good idea. It's less staffing at the front desk during renewal season, less traffic. It's less of a burden on you guys who have to apply for this and provide documentation. So we really see it as a harmless change that will make everyone's life easier. And they propose that if this passes, any parking pass issued this year, which would have expired next month, will be extended until 2027, and then renewing in 2027 for 2 years.
Who does the staffing downstairs? Is it parking?
They do, but we get a lot of the overflow. The parking pass season comes around, it's a lot of traffic.
The only detriment I see is kind of like when we looked at extending the dog tags. It was like, once a year, that gave us a look at, to make sure people had rabies shots and they were properly vaccinated. Once a year, we look at their insurance, make sure they have proper insurance on golf carts. Now
So
we'll be.
this isn't a golf cart, this is your parking pass, not a golf cart sticker.
When you go online, parking the beach access, that's what.
You can
this-
register 2 vehicles.
You can register a golf cart, but this is not your golf cart permit.
Okay.
This is a parking pass. They might let the golf cart permit be both, but this is only the parking pass aspect of it. It Gives you free parking in the beach access lots.
So I thought for golf carts, they just put the parking sticker on it for access to them.
They may use the same sticker, but there's a golf cart permit and a parking pass.
Yeah.
This is not your golf cart permit, it's just
Okay,
your.
so we still will be looking at golf carts every year for insurance. I'm good.
And the last item on the work session, 6 minutes to go. Free morning parking at the washout. This is a proposal to amend the paid parking hours to begin at 9 AM at the washout instead of 8 AM. And that's for users at the washout who come early. It's a busy spot, it's a popular spot for surfers and other folks who like to come and enjoy the beach. We talked to the, and I do apologize, we did not amend the memo. It's $6,000 a year is how much they collect from 8 AM.
Is that year round? Or is
Yeah,
that-
yeah, from 8 AM to 9 AM, they
You're
get
right.
about $6,000 per year for the washout spaces.
Oh, and that's during that time period?
Yeah.
From 8 AM to 9 AM. So giving an hour of free parking in the morning would cost about $6,000 according to the contract.
That's all year.
Yeah,
It's not necessarily out of season. So if
Right.
you amortize, if you were to look at it out of season, it's gonna be
Right.
differential.
Could you do it out of season and do it 2 hours? Out of season?
I don't think that really addresses what we were trying to do, though. I mean,
What are we trying to do?
We can do, oh, sorry, Mayor.
well, during my discussions, I mean, people are like, can we make it easier for people to come enjoy the beach before 9 AM?
Dog patrol.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what we're going for.
Okay.
And if it's $6,000, I mean, that's,
Only problem I have with it is, nobody likes to charge money for parking. You know, we wish we could make it free, but that money goes to support the walkovers and the beach you know, we volunteered that with the parking, and we said all that money will go towards the beach. And that section of beach has gotta be one of the most expensive sections of beach to maintain, with all the revetment, with the walkovers. So, you know, the mental hoops we jump through to justify charging for parking everywhere else is so that when people come and use the beach and they don't go to business, they just come out for the day, the only money they give us to help support all the infrastructure is the money they pay for parking. And surfers are probably the same. The only money that we get to maintain the walkovers, to maintain the revetment, is the money they pay for parking. And if we want to make it where, you know, we don't start charging for parking island-wide till 9 o'clock, then do that. But I'm not in favor of special sections and special people getting special accommodations.
the only reason we did the washout is because the other areas have a lot of free parking available. Washout's a little bit more limited.
And there's still free parking
Sure.
just beyond it and just before it, and, you know, I just, you know, we gotta figure what we make on parking, and I just think it needs to be a rule that applies to everybody. So if you wanna come from James Island and walk your dog at 8 o'clock in the morning, then you can park for free on, you know, West Arctic. And just say, when are they actually out there enforcing parking rules? I mean, they're not out there 24/7, we know that. Right? So,
You don't want to incentivize people parking and just hope that they don't.
I'm just saying,
get a ticket.
if we're gonna make it free, make it free. If we're gonna charge, then charge, but I don't like carving out special interest because we think people deserve special treatment. I agree with just treating everybody the same and not having any special exemptions for special people because we think they need special treatment. I don't agree with special treatment for anybody. We should be the same.
Mr. Mayor, I agree with Councilman Farley, mainly because of the fact that again, you're differentiating a part of the island versus the other part of it. What makes the surfers may wanna go have coffee over here off of Center Street, you know, maybe the surfers wanna, get there, cause half the time, it's only 7:30 when the sun rises, right, around here, so, I mean, they don't really have that much time to begin with. Why not just provide it for all the beach access areas? Be do exactly what he's saying. Provide it free of charge to a certain period of time, whether they're dog walkers or surfers or whatever they might be.
All right, so that's two different.
And then run some financial, you know,
Yeah, that's-
considerations,
that's
obviously.
much
You need to do
So
that.
just for clarification, Mr. Farley, you were referring to on-street paid parking, correct?
Yeah,
And you're referring to
I'm
on-street
referring to
paid parking.
enforcement.
All, but paid parking in the beach accesses or on the street?
A beach well, I agree, if we're back to the issue, if you wanna get to the beach, whether you're walking your dog or you're surfing, beach access and then the washout, clearly. I don't know, I mean, I guess you could look at the implementation, whether it's all of the parking,
I'm
cause
just
you know
saying,
better than I do.
And I go with Fourth Street, there's tons of parking there,
Yeah.
all the surfers park for free basically.
I'm for it.
The washout was picked basically because it was a little bit more limited.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason.
Yeah. What about the beach access areas? How would you feel about that?
I don't know where they're doing.
Well, maybe you run some financials on it.
Okay?
yeah, I mean, this is
Well,
the
good
first,
numbers, yeah.
Yeah.
it's the first I heard of it when I got the agenda and read it. But I wasn't, we didn't have any numbers, we didn't have anything except we got hit with it in the agenda for the work session. And that's just my first blush.
We had it in the,
All right,
Last
and
week.
if anyone, if we want to postpone it and get a list of different scenarios to run, we can certainly do that.
yeah, they can give us breakdowns on every
That's
piece of.
very
time.
granular information.
For every dollar we don't get from people that come to visit, to use the beach, to use the infrastructure, for every, if it's $6,000, it's $6,000 we gotta find from somewhere else. And if it means putting a bigger burden on people that live here and pay property taxes, because we're giving a break to people that visit us with surfboards, I'm not in favor of that.
All right. So, Mayor, I think we're about to wrap
I
up.
know.
So when that comes up,
Tell us what you really.
if there is a motion to postpone, we can work with you guys after the meeting to get which scenarios you want to test out, and we can ask for that.
All the way down to the bill. It's a big,
And you know,
but I mean,
what the cost
the more hours we peel back, it's.
I understand, there's probably some built in catch bases that will allow us to appropriate dollars.
Like you said, it's
I want you guys to have the ability to.
I think we had a hat right there.
Oh, thank you.
With a circle.
Afterwards, call me, text me, email me.
Good to see you. I'm glad you guys got to meet tonight.
I'm not great at it, I'm lost doing it.
Got the ladders, get up and shoot over down there. That's why they do it, that's why they do it. There's an automatic.
Okay. 7 o'clock. All right, good evening, everyone. It's 7. We need to get going.
Dr. Houghton, Mr. Farley. Here. Mr. Fink.
Here.
Mr. Bruce.
Here.
Mr. Holliday. Here. Mayor Bazell.
Here.
You have quorum.
I'll do the invocation tonight. As we gather together during Christmas season, let us reflect on the hope, generosity, and spirit of togetherness May our Folly Beach community find unity and strength this season as we work collaboratively to move forward into the new year. May peace, understanding, and compassion guide our actions tonight and throughout the season. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, play ball.
All right, welcome to night one, I guess, yeah. I appreciate everyone being here tonight. I wanted to make a few comments. I just want to reiterate what I said during the campaign. Everything we do and everything we're working on is to move Folly forward as a community. So a lot of people have been reaching out, how do I get in touch with you? I would appreciate just email. That would be the best way. Facebook messaging and all that. Really not checking that anymore. So email is my best. So thank you again for being here and all your continued engagement. I do want to give you a few updates on what's going on in the city, and it's pretty obvious. We're doing a lot of work around town. We've got the Center Street project is about to kick off in earnest here on Center Street. We've got the water replacement line on Hudson. We've got continued implementation of the new infiltration system on 10th. We've got a living shoreline project coming in the new year. We're going to be talking about a new website so we can work out a better communication, people can find things. And it's Christmas, so we've got upcoming holiday events. So get out, enjoy the community. This is a great time to be at Folly. So again, thank you for being here tonight. So we'll move now to staff reports.
First up is an amendment to our golf cart ordinance. State law has changed, our ordinance has not. State law now requires anyone who's under 12 years old who's riding in a golf cart, not an LSV, on a golf cart, to have a seatbelt. Our ordinances have not been updated to reflect that, so this amendment just copies the language from the state law amendment into our code. Any questions on that? Next up is a traffic safety update. So we finished our traffic safety action plan last year, and that was kind of a culmination of a process that started when we had the accident with the bride who was killed on the golf cart. That pushed off kind of a major push for traffic safety. We've done the stop signs, the first phase of the traffic lights and pedestrian paths, and we've got a lot of things in the kind of going. Peason Road has hit a decision point for the city. We've finished the design. We're ready to cost that out, and in the spring, we'll be coming to you guys with cost estimates to see if you want to put it in next year's budget for the actual construction. And just for anyone who may not be familiar with the Pease Island, Bowens Island Road intersection plans, we have those available. Basically, we would be moving the location of the alternate merge as you come onto the island towards Harris Teeter, about a half a mile. So that merge will move onto James Island for about a half a mile. And it would be moving the 2-lane, instead of being at the bottom of the Folly or the Crosby's Bridge, it would be pushing that to be on Pease Island Road. So you'd essentially be maintaining that 1 lane for about a quarter to a half mile longer as you leave the island. And those changes would create a turn lane essentially for Pease Island and Bowens Island roads to turn into and out of leaving. So the design has been done, submitted to DOT. We've already gotten our first round of comments from DOT on those designs. We're working to refine them. So in the spring, we will be coming to you guys for construction money. Right now, we've got an old budget estimate of $225,000. I don't know how well that's aged, but we'll know in a couple of months. Also, the pedestrian scramble at the red light. We've had several requests to look at a pedestrian scramble at Center Street and Ashley Avenue. A pedestrian scramble is basically where you stop all the traffic and let everyone cross all the directions at one time. It's a well-known and well-used tool all around the world. Downtown Charleston, I think, got the first one in South Carolina recently, and kind of prompted some renewed interest. We went to the DOT, and as usual, DOT says we'd love to consider that, but first you need to do a traffic study. to evaluate its effectiveness. So we paid for that study, and the results have come back that at that intersection, a pedestrian scramble will not noticeably relieve congestion or increase pedestrian safety or reduce crash rates. It is not supported by data. And DOT reviewed the study and confirmed pedestrian scramble is not the ideal solution for that intersection. What they pointed us back to was our earlier study, which is included in the packet, which recommends a series of changes further up the road on Center Street. Some at the intersection, then we can relocate the buttons, we can change some parking right near the intersection. But the main problem, and I'm not a technical person, but the main problem is that the turning and traffic patterns on Center Street make the light irregular and the traffic patterns at the light irregular and unpredictable, and that's what causes all the problems. The technical language is in the report, which is in the packet, which we can email to anyone who needs it. So the previous study, our traffic study on Center Street, has what we've been calling phase 2 of the traffic signal improvements in it, but it does extend up the road. And we're not asking for any decisions tonight, we're just asking basically if you want us to look at these for this year or next year. But some of them, I encourage everyone to read it. Some of them involve temporary turning restrictions onto and off of the side streets, making some streets right turn in, right turn out only. Some temporary narrowing of the median, the turn lane on Center Street. So some actual physical changes to traffic patterns on Center Street. For everyone who was here during the last time we redid Center Street, we know it's a topic that everyone's passionate about, so I encourage you to review that study or email me and we'll get it to you. And what we'd like to do is look at the study and come to you guys in this budget year to see if there's anything we can fund in this budget year. You know, moving the push buttons, that might be something we can do now, but then for next budget year, those bigger traffic changes. It's a fairly extensive report with a lot of options, and almost all of them will result in changing our normal behaviors. And we know how that lands, so everyone familiarize yourself with it and we'll talk about it. And then one more update is the flashing crosswalk at Burt's, or at 2nd Street, rather, 2nd Street East and Ashley Avenue. This was an intersection flagged in our traffic safety action plan as a trouble spot. We proposed 4-way stops. The DOT asked us to do a study, which we did, which did not support a 4-way stop. They did come back and say that they could support restriping the intersection and putting a flashing light instead of a 24-hour light, because no one pays attention to it if it doesn't flash on demand. And so we paid for a study for that, and congratulations, the data does support that, and they've come back and given us permission to move forward. And we've submitted for the permit, so we've submitted for the permit to install that. So that's the DOT approval improvement for that intersection from our study. So that's my traffic update.
Good. Thank you for getting here.
No problem. Good evening, council. So as a part of the FY26 budget, we made some alterations to the city holiday offerings, and I specifically wanted to talk with y'all about the floating holiday portion of that. As some of y'all know, we used to offer employees their choice of floating holiday on any day of their choosing, as long as they were coordinating with staff, of course. Now we essentially tell the employees to make a choice of one of the 3 federal holidays that we currently do not recognize. Now that Columbus Day has passed, we've seen one of those holidays go by, kind of how the program's working, and we're coming across a couple of issues. I highlighted a pair of them here. One's kind of big picture, one's more on the individual level. On the individual level, we actually had the same police squad get scheduled on all 3 holidays, just with the way that the shift rotations work. And we're trying to figure out how we want to handle them. We've got a couple options there, whether we want to essentially allow people to come in and take those shifts, or if we want them to be able to coordinate with the major and the chief to maybe be able to take those holidays on some other days that would not require somebody to call in on. And then the second issue that we're running into is only 6 of our full-time employees did take that first floating holiday. So as it stands right now, we've got over 50 employees outstanding that have a floating holiday for the remaining 2 days. So even if we split them evenly, 50-50, we're still dealing with a significant portion of the staff that's gonna be out for each of those days, and that's if it's even. And because this is a handbook item, it's passed by council resolution, I wanted to get your guidance on it. And next month, I will actually have an update of the handbook in front of y'all, and it can include the floating holidays if y'all want to make a change to that. So I wanted to essentially get y'all's input first.
Makes common sense. I agree.
Do you wanna, okay. Okay, essentially, so I'll have a new handbook page for y'all to essentially revert back to the old.
That'll work.
All right, thank you very much.
Like a winner.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You know on the agenda packet you have a resolution coming forward. Staff is recommending that you approve it, and it's for an amendment to the design and engineering contract for the redundant water main coming from Folly down to Folly Beach. This project has been ongoing for quite some time, and this amendment is needed because consulting engineers have run into quite a bit more work as we have shifted from a grant from the Dorian storm that expired by FEMA, and now we're shifting into a new grant that is funded through Helene money. That, along with actually extra work they've had to take on with outside agencies, including CWS and DOT and formerly DHEC, DES, and a couple other agencies actually on top of that. So they're seeking another an additional $57,188 to their design and engineering contract to get us to the finish line and shovel ready, essentially.
And just mayor and council and the public to know, we lost $1.8 million of a FEMA grant kind of a couple of years ago, and this work is being driven because we've almost successfully transferred to a new FEMA grant that will replace the bulk of that money, and we are in process, and we've already gotten our first round of comments back, which we addressed just today. So we really have high expectations, hopefully, that we will get that full amount back under a new FEMA project. So that's what's driving this, and hopefully, you know, we took a lot of money out of the general fund this year to bridge that gap that we lost, and so this should let us keep about $2 million in the bank at the end of this year.
I'm glad you brought that up too. During this whole process, our same consulting firm took on additional work, and they were able to secure us another $1.5 million through RA funds. So that was money that we didn't.
And the deadline on that is the end of the calendar year of '26, is that right?
No, sir, that's for the projects that are going on out here right now.
All right.
How's the state managed pedestrian path coming along?
It's moving slowly. The DOT just emailed me today and has finally agreed to set up a meeting with our separate consultants for that, but it is moving forward.
Thank you. Everybody, please be patient with all this work going on, because it's a lot happening. All right, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
You want a motion now to,
Any discussion? You want to table that?
you want it now or you want it when it comes up?
What
To
the-
table it.
Can do it when it comes up.
Okay.
That'll work. All right,
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Fink,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Mr. Holliday,
Yes.
Mayor Bazell.
yes.
Approved.
All right, you got the minutes in front of you. Motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second. There were some changes I sent to Wes, so there were some Scrivener errors.
Typos.
As amended.
Okay. Mr. Holliday,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Mr. Fink,
Yes.
Mayor Bazell.
Yes.
Passes.
All right, personal appearances. First up is the request for approval for horses in the Folly Beach Christmas Parade, James Island Cowboys.
Where's the horse?
Hi, I'm Sherry Burlingham. I've lived on the island for 20 years. Been going to the parade every time. Desmond Hare has been born and raised on James Island, riding horses on Folly Beach Beach, James Island, downtown Charleston, all over. He's been in the past parade. We still have duty calls. I just got an email from them saying that they will definitely be here to walk behind the horses and for any duty calls. So we're just asking for the one-day waiver that they can bring the horses on the island to be in the parade.
A motion to approve.
So moved. Thought the cowboy was gonna do it.
Any discussion? Any discussion?
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Mr. Farley.
Yes.
Mr. Holliday,
Yes.
Mr. Fink,
Yes.
Mayor Bazell,
Yes.
passes.
Hopefully this will be here. So, Taste of Folly.
Hello, Kelly Travers, 303 West Hudson Avenue, representing the Folly Association of Business for Taste of Folly. Obviously, we had 4 events on the agenda, 3 of which were pre-approved except for this one. So I just wanted to speak to it a little bit. We know this event could look different moving forward in January with the street, stormwater projects. So we submitted a couple different diagrams to y'all to review of ways that we can alter the layout out on the street. Our overall plan is to reduce the vendor count pretty significantly. Typically, we have about 80 or 90. We want to reduce that back to 70 or 75, just so we're able to adapt on the fly to a last-minute change if we have to. So the 2 examples that we included were one with us just dropping a block. So if there's active work going on a block, they would drop metal plates, put chain link fence around it, and we would just use it as a pedestrian path, and we would not put vendors there. So that's one example. And then the second example was if they're working on the, I guess I should say, the river side of the island, just transitioning it to go closer to the ocean, working on Center and then over to Arctic, without blocking access to the tides or the pier was our main thought process there. But overall, the event would be largely the same as in the past with us closing the streets around 6:30. Security briefings, loading in the vendors between 7:30 and 8:30, sealing the street by 9:15, opening the event at 10, running it till 3:45 when we close the music, active clearing of the streets by 4, removing all the vendors by 5, and reopening the street by 5:30 after a street cleaner. So that's the overall plan. Look very similar, but we are obviously very knowledgeable that we may have to move stages, move vendors, things like that. That's part of my job, and I'm used to that, so.
Do we have a motion to approve the request?
So moved.
Second. Is there a reason this wasn't on the pre-approved list, or did we oversight it, or?
We had that list last year. I don't think we just didn't have it on.
Yeah, I think it was just an oversight.
Can I make an
Fix that
amendment
next
to
year, Taylor, would you?
put that on, or?
Well, we have to do that
That's
separately.
a separate action.
That's a separate
Okay.
ordinance, yes.
Yeah, you gotta remand.
Just put it on your list of.
We'll do it next month. Any other discussion? All right.
Mr. Fink,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Mr. Holliday,
Yes.
Mayor Bazell,
Yeah.
passes.
All right, meatball drop.
How's it going? I'm Matt Gardner with Woody's Pizza. I don't know what to say, it's a meatball drop. Couple changes from last year. I haven't went under business last year, but I am now, so we're making it a little safer this year. Basically, instead of previous years where they actually drop the meatball of actual meat of concoction onto the sidewalk in front of the Woody's, we're not doing that. It's gonna be a styrofoam ball. It's gonna be more like a Times Square thing where it just comes down a flagpole and looks cool. And with talking to the fire and police, we're gonna have 4 security officers as well as manage any glassware that gets sold at night, just to try to keep a safer event.
Do we have a motion to approve this request?
So move.
Second.
I will say one thing, I appreciate you working closely with the city. I know that was very appreciated, so. Any other discussion?
Hand out free meatballs, man.
That's what to do.
Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Fink?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mr. Holliday?
Yes.
Mr. Pizell, I'm sorry, Mayor Pizell?
Yes.
Passes.
Thank you. The MedCons.
All right, good evening. Again, Ashby Gale, owner of Charleston Fossil Adventures, back for our 7th annual Easter Meg Hunt now. Same location this year as prior years down at the county park on the west side of town. We're, same time as always, 11 o'clock. Event ends at 12:30. Setup starts when the park opens at 8. We'll be fully taken down, beach smoothed out from any disturbances by probably 1:30. We'll have Stucky Sound out with us again this year, providing some music that is kept at a respectable decibel volume for just the participants of our event. We will have one off-duty police officer this year. Don't think we did that last year, but per request, we'll be doing that this year. And then I, of course, monitor the tides every single day for my job. High tide that day is 3:30, and it's a 4-foot, 0.2. So we'll have plenty of beach for both beachgoers and for our attendees. We'll probably have around 200 people for our event. We cap it at 300, but we've never hit that just based on prior years when it was free. Now these years it's ticketed, and that kind of keeps down some of the unruly folks from coming in.
Motion approved.
Second.
Any discussion?
No shark's teeth this year?
Yeah, there it is.
You didn't want to vote first.
You take your pick. There's some extinctions in there.
Yes.
Mr. Holliday?
Yes.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mr. Fink?
Depending on what size shark teeth.
Yes.
Farley?
Yes.
Mayor Pizell?
Yeah.
Passes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Request for a driveway variance, Mr. Platt.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Councilman. Thank you for having me the opportunity to speak to you. I understand that the plans that I submitted are in your package.
Yes, sir.
Keeping this very simple, there are 2 sheets in the first case. My wife, Amy, and I are building a house, almost finished at the intersection of West Asheville and 9th Street. And the first sheet that you're looking at is the approved site plan, which when we began to implement it, realized that the radiuses on the driveway that connect the parking area of the house to the street are exceed the 15-foot width required by the city. So I have prepared a second sheet to ask for a variance from that strict 15-foot width to allow me to flare the driveway at both the property line and the street line, so that I have a little bit better ability to turn into that site. The rest of the images on that sheet, if you have the one with the photographs, is just an explanation for why I need that. The house is quite close to the street because there's a very big and beautiful light behind it and beside it. The pink area, if you've got your map in color, is all unbuildable area on that site. And the house is shoehorned in where I could get it to go, and it's a little closer to the street than I would have had it. I also included some photographs about some of the 20-some trees that we planted to bring the forest back to the street, including some of them across the front of the house. 2 parts to my request. One is to allow me to flare the driveway 36 inches radius at both the street and the property line, which would make the touch point at the street more like 21 feet, but the driveway neck is 15 feet. Secondly would be I plan to lay that paving a little bit across the property on the west side, just to be able to maneuver a car to get it turned around to come out forward into the street instead of having to back into the street. Ashby's got a lot of traffic on it.
So that is as drawn, what you're talking about, or is it you asking for something
That's what
additional?
I'm proposing to do, what's on that sheet right there, yes.
So is there a motion to approve?
Yes. So moved.
All right.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, so, You've done great work down there. The plantings are significant and it looks beautiful, but in the past, we've just really summarily denied these, but you do have 210 feet of road frontage.
Right.
And so would you agree that giving a variance here to go a little bit wider, you will not do any more road cuts or connections to Ashley?
If I can do this, I'll be happy.
With that stipulation, I'm fine with it.
What did you guys?
We've done stuff like that in the past, with a deed restriction and sign off law.
You willing to do something like that?
Of course, yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I did walk that ground today and went out, and there's significant advantages for safety. The way the lot is organized and the traffic on West Ashley, I can see we're trying to scoot out and not be able to flare when you're coming out would be a detriment to the health of your car, much less your driver. I have no problem with that. It's being very professionally done. It looks very good down there too. Appreciate it.
The lot's beautiful.
Yeah.
You've really done a good job.
Any other discussion?
That is nicely done.
Mr. Fink,
Yes.
Mr. Holliday,
Yes.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Bruce.
Yes.
Mayor Brazil.
Yes.
Passes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Barnett.
All right, we're now entering citizen comments. I'm gonna ask that you, speak clearly in the microphone and limit your remarks to, agenda items only. Thank you. Anyone wish to speak?
Hey y'all, Catherine Matrangelo with Respect the Break Initiative, representing beachgoers as a whole, not only surfers. Thank you so much for your time tonight and your discussion. We really appreciate it. If you can't hear me, just let me know. I feel like I'm talking loudly, but I've had a cold, so I could be in a vacuum. Oh, hey, you're here. Hi. And Carrie Rosen as well. We wanted to thank you for the resolution brought to the table for parking at the washout. But we did want to discuss it a little bit more. We don't have any interest in stopping progress, though with some of the comments earlier, we think it would warrant a greater discussion. We have two concerns or things that we'd like to talk about. One, we'd like to talk about the addition of 2nd Street to that, 2nd Street and East Arctic for safety and accessibility concerns. And then two, we'd love to have a meeting to talk with y'all and address and brainstorm and talk about the costs, the needs of not just the surfers, but of all beachgoers, and the ways that we could think that this could be a little bit more collaborative. I am going to go in a little more on our reasons for 2nd Street and East Arctic. I know that y'all have brought up, not just designated one spot in the points Mr. Farley made earlier tonight, but those two are, one, accessibility. If you have trouble with stairs, you're not gonna be able to go out to the washout. And allowing for fairness and equitable use of the beach with dog walkers or elderly or any, pick another population besides surfers, we would like an additional easy access point. And then on top of that, safety. Not everybody needs to be surfing at the washout. We know that. I know that. People don't know their own abilities sometimes, and so we would like to make sure that just closing off one portion doesn't mean that surfers are gonna go only to the washout. It's just not safe. People are stupid, sorry. And so if we could spread that out, right? And then again, on top of that, the $6,000, if you could share with us when throughout the year that amount is made. And with that, our next request in our meeting, we could talk more about it, is a 90-day pilot program of some of these, so that no one has to commit to something that we know won't work for a full year. We're really conscious of, one, every single party that's coming to use the beach, not just surfers, and two, the long-term effects of this parking question and concern and issue. So off-season, on-season, we're just here to hopefully brainstorm and talk through each one of these options. But again, the resolution that was just proposed, we really feel strongly that we appreciate it until 9 a.m. We love that. Those who get to dawn patrol might stay till 9. People like me who get up at 8 in the morning are rushing. And the 2nd Street or additional access of some kind. Again, that's truly safety and accessibility.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Anyone else? All right, we'll move into, no commission board reports tonight, no old business, so we'll run into, new business. First item is ordinance 016-25, an ordinance amending the Folly Beach Code of Ordinances, section 73.03, rules governing the operation of golf carts and low-speed vehicles by including the May 2025 state law amendment to require all passengers under 12 years old to wear seatbelts. This is the first reading. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Motion approved. Second.
Any discussion?
What about golf carts? I think you had mentioned, Skip, that are antiquated, that do not have seat belts installed.
You mean like my 59 VW that I'm driving around?
That one.
No, that one, yeah. Gotta get them installed.
Well, is there a grace period involved, or how are we going to, and Chief, how do we pull over everybody and say, wait a minute, underneath your coat, I can't see your seatbelt?
No, I mean, it's really, most of the beach communities that I've talked to, like in our little group chats, is just education really at this point, making sure people understand that if there was a rule change, getting seatbelts installed where they are not installed, and just preparing for enforcement.
I understand that there is some golf carts that do not pass a safety standard for their chassis at a 25-mile-an-hour run into a tree or a driveway, and that a seat belt won't sustain the chassis, that it'll pull loose. That's just what I understand. I'm not an engineer. But I'm wondering if we don't need to do a little due diligence to figure out which can be implemented and which can't. And is there a grace period to figure that out? I mean, and there's a lot of folks that have grandkids that come out, younger kids that come out. They've got a standard golf cart, not an LV. Now they've got to go find a place, try to get it installed if it's
But it's already a
feasible.
state law, so I mean, we're just trying to
Yeah.
align to the
I'm not-
state law,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm not opposing it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think, what was the state law?
That was earlier in 2025.
Yeah,
in the spring.
May of 2025.
But I think that's discretion. I think the police department, that would, hopefully they would understand and maybe have a list of people that can perform seatbelt installation. But
Or maybe don't drive that vehicle with a 12-year-old, right?
with a 12-year-old, don't let them.
Get a different vehicle if you're gonna be driving around with a 12-year-old.
Yeah, do that in the summer, Doc. Good luck with that.
Yeah,
You can't take
I
your
hear
kid to
ya.
the beach, by the way, because we don't have a seatbelt.
Yeah.
But going to your point, Billy, maybe we could.
We just gotta figure out how to implement.
Get some vendors.
Yeah, when we implement it, put a list of people that they could contact them, upfit,
That's all
whatever.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, any other discussion?
Excuse me, I think there's a very minor Scrivener's error in the second citation to the South Carolina Code. It looks like it's striking out the 2, and it's supposed to be 56-2-90. You see what I mean?
Yeah, so just strike out the 2, not the.
You're not supposed to
I
strike
get
out
you.
the 2.
Yeah.
That's, I just, clarity.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mr. Holliday?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Fink?
Yes.
Mayor Brazil?
Yes.
Passes first reading.
All right, ordinance 017-25, amending the Folly Beach Code of Ordinances, chapter 72, parking regulations, to set a 2-year expiration for residential parking passes valid in city-owned beach access parking areas. First reading. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? All right, let's vote.
Mr. Grooms?
Yes.
Mr. Fink?
Yes.
Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Holliday?
Yes.
Mayor Brazil?
Yes.
Passes first.
All right. Ordinance 018-25, amending the Folly Beach Code of Ordinances, Chapter 117, short-term rentals by exempting voluntary placement of rental units from the 28-night minimum rental requirement, clarifying that renovations that do not trigger loss of certificate of occupancy do not trigger loss of a license, clarifying that the tax status at the time of the application controls the classification of the rental license, clarifying that the 72-day rental limit does not apply to properties whose owners have received a property tax exception from the military service, and requiring an emergency contact number to be posted in all rental units. First reading. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion?
They're gonna look at some additions, refinements for the second reading, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, based on the previous conversation, to flesh out, the time period, et cetera.
I'm good with that.
All right. Everybody good? Let's vote.
Mr. Farley.
Yes.
Mr. Holliday.
Yes.
Mr. Grooms.
Yes.
Mr. Fink.
Yes.
Mayor Bazell.
Yes.
Passes first.
All right, ordinance 019-25, amending the Beach Code of Ordinances, Chapter 95, keeping certain animals prohibited, to allow the Special Events Committee to approve the use of horses in pre-approved city events. First reading. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
How about other things other than horses? And I'm just thinking, or, I don't know.
The James Island sheep herders.
Kalama, yeah. Just bringing it up.
Let's start with
It will
horses.
come up.
I like that. Start with
Cats,
horses.
dogs, I mean, so they're legal, right? So-
I would-
Cat on a leash?
Yeah, so yeah, just an idea.
Let's start with horses.
We'll start with horses.
All right, any other discussion? All right,
All right. Mr. Fink.
Yes.
Mr. Holliday.
Yes.
Mr. Grooms.
Yes.
Mr. Farley.
Yes.
Mayor Bazell.
yes.
Passes first.
All right, resolution 43-25, awarding a second amendment to the amount of $57,188 to finalize surveying, design, and permitting efforts as part of the contract for design, engineering, and administration of the Folly Beach Charleston Water Systems Joint Redundant Water Main Project, previously awarded to Weston and Sampson Incorporated. By resolution 43-23, $690,200, and amended by resolution 07-24, $67,320, for a grand total of $814,708. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All right.
Mr. Farley.
Yes.
Mr. Fink.
Yes.
Mr. Grooms.
Yes.
Mr. Holliday.
Yes.
Mayor Bazell.
Yes.
Passes.
All right. Resolution 44-25, awarding the contract for services described in RFP 06-25 for the Folly Beach website refresh. And you've got the city staff notes. I think we've had these for over a month or so, first, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All right, any discussion? You can see the staff recommendation at the top of that sheet. Okay, only have it? Okay, so you want me to go through that? All right, I thought you handed it to everybody. So after further review and vetting, the staff recommendation was revised. We had 44 bids came in, 18 were responsive, and the top 4 were revised, we, us, them, Airtight, and Pure Logics. The contract amount's gonna be $76,600. The annual hosting is $13,800. The real reason we went with, or revised was recommended was the AI tools. We're gonna be able to find content a lot easier on the website. Using natural language, you can type in, say, I want a business license, and it'll bring up links and so forth that enable you to find that content. It had a user-friendly design, navigation. I think what put it over the top was the strong municipal experience with 3,000 government websites launched. I mean, that's a pretty
That was a big
big feather.
This is revised, right?
Yes.
And the cities in the immediate area, a lot
Yeah,
of them use it.
Hilton Head, Kiowa, Myrtle Beach, Newberry, North Charleston. So it's a pretty strong candidate. And again, that's the staff recommendation. So I guess we'll just vote.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll give you the four, revise. Just say.
Yes.
Yes, if you'd like, I can go council
Yeah,
first.
do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll call each of you, you just give me,
Okay.
give me the firm you believe it should be awarded to. Mr. Farley,
Revise.
Mr. Fee,
Revise.
Mr. Grooms,
You revise.
Mr. Holliday,
Revise.
Mayor Bazell.
Revise.
So be awarded to revise.
All right. Next, we've got a resolution authorizing the administration to enter in a purchase agreement for TMS 439-13-00-159 and TMS 439-13-00-093. These are lots 1315 and 1316 on 13th East Street East for $10,000 each. And may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Excuse me.
Sir?
Did we vote on, like, we all named the contract, did we?
Oh, that was.
That was.
that
We
to
don't
be
have to do
awarded,
that, so.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have to vote, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have a second, so any discussion on the property agreement?
And I apologize, who made the original motion?
I did.
Thank you, Mr. Fee.
Any discussion?
So based on the discussion under the work session, there's no concern that we need to be doing more due diligence on fair market value, anything related to the actual intent of purchasing property without any appraisal?
I think when you looked at the other costs, it basically was a wash. I understand where you're going. I don't think this sets precedent really for that.
Okay.
Good?
Got it?
All right, let's vote.
Mr. Fee,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
Yes.
Mr. Holliday,
No.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mayor Bazell,
Yes.
passes.
All right. Resolution 4625, Folly Beach City Council making paid parking at the washout free till 9 a.m.
Motion to table?
Yeah. We have a motion to table. Any discussion on that motion? All right, we'll vote on the motion to table.
Mr. Farley,
Yes.
Mr. Fee,
Yes.
Mr. Grooms,
No.
Mr. Holliday,
Yes.
Mayor Bazell,
Yeah.
all right.
All right, council comments. Mr. Grooms.
All right. You know the holiday season upon us. It's got a funny way of sneaking up on us. 1 minute you're trying to finish your leftover Halloween candy. Next thing you know, boom, your neighbor has 12 inflatable reindeer on the lawn and the grocery store's out of nutmeg again. But even with all the chaos, this is a time of year when our city really shines. It's not just half of us don't know how to set up a timer on a Christmas light so they stay up until 4 a.m. So no, we shine because of the people, the real heart of this community. We've got families who work hard, neighbors who check on each other, and folks who will hold the door open for you at the post office, even if you're still 10 steps away. That's love, that's compassion. And that's slightly awkward, but it's the thought that counts. And let's talk gratitude. It's the season to appreciate what we've got. Good food, good company, and the miracle that finding a parking spot downtown Charleston on a Saturday. If that's not something to be grateful for, I don't know what is. And of course, compassion and forgiveness are important too, especially forgiveness. Because if your cousin shows up late to the holiday dinner again and brings the rolls he clearly brought on the way over, we have to remember the holidays are about peace. And maybe hiding the last piece of pie for yourself. As we head into the new year, let's carry out the spirit of love, humor, gratitude, and grace. Let's be the city that leads with kindness, laughs often, forgives quickly, and remembers what really matters, that we're all doing our best. Even if some of us are still trying to untangle the same box of Christmas lights we've been fighting since 2012. May your holidays be joyful, your hearts full, and your resolutions be realistic. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
That's tough to follow, it's good.
Do I have to follow the chat GPT? I know where you got that chat.
Oh, Bill and I wrote it.
No, I would, I'll just reiterate a lot of the things. I mean, we're so incredibly blessed to be here where we are. I just would encourage you to please be safe. Keep all those that travel in your prayers. Hug your family closely. You only get one. But above all, just remember what the season's about. And I wish you all a very happy new year, but please remember the troops in the field and all those that are out there protecting everything we have. And other than that, God bless you all.
So thanks, Chris, for the notes on Dave Miller's blood drive.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's Wednesday, the 17th. It's from 9 to 3 at the Tides. There are 12 openings. This is their big blood drive. And you can sign up at redcrossblood.org. That's redcrossblood.org. This is the big one of the year. Happy holidays to everybody. Hope it's a safe one for everybody and enjoy. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the people of Folly Beach for giving me the opportunity to serve another 4 years. And I appreciate it. I enjoy doing it. And we'll be seeing you over the next 4 years. Thank you.
The gift of Bill, I guess.
The gift of Bill keeps giving.
Well, it is a pleasure to be able to address all of you, and I thank you again for coming tonight. I am well aware of the fact that there are constituents on this island that some agree with me and some don't, and that's fine. But my job is to make sure that we support and inspire all of us over here. And I want to thank you for voting for me. I obviously am very passionately involved in collaboration. I believe in collaboration over conflict. I think we have to provide a pathway so we have solutions for all those citizens of this incredible island that we live on. So trust that we will be looking at this together collectively, all of the issues, but I will bring balance and harmony to this discussion. I promise you to be very respectful and be inclusive. But my personal goals are to create a community where we have a shared purpose and we have one where pragmatically we look at opportunities that provide solutions for all citizens and looking at it from a shared purpose of unity. So with that, again, thank you, and I will echo the sentiments of my colleague at the end of the table. Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and Happy New Year.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Off the record, 7:48.
Pretty good, Chris.
Very good.
49.